believe Judy Rosenthal from the DA's office came and gave a presentation on. That program also LEAD stands for Let Everyone Achieve with Dignity. And so what does that do? If somebody commits a minor level crime, there are diversion programs to get them through treatment, which is what we want, as opposed to somebody getting a penalty. And that has actually grown. Not only is it part of the diversion program, but part of that is we've been working with RCAD, Rockland Council on Alcoholism and Other Drug Dependency. And through them foundations, we're doing outreach, meeting people where they are. So you'll see me a couple times a month walking through with a peer counselor from foundations, and we're walking the streets, we're meeting people. There's some new faces in the village, I'm sure everyone has noticed. In addition to meeting people where they are, Foundations has these wonderful bags. They contain xylazine test strips. Xylazine is a terrible drug where it eats the flesh when it's injected. Fentanyl test strips, but there's a huge fentanyl epidemic. There's Narcan that's provided, as well as some other for toiletries, just help people really serve basic needs. Along the lines with the fentanyl and the overdose concerns that we're dealing with, there's a after overdose survivor meet where we meet the individual and their home many days later. We just make sure that they're aware that there's services out there in case they're looking for treatment. Work with the families foundation, get through RCAD and Foundations. It's a wonderful program. It is wintertime. The warming center is open from November through April 30th. There's pickups, and I think it's worth noting here, and I'm sure everyone's aware, Bird Street and Broadway, right in front of the First Reformed Church, 4:25 p.m. and 8 p.m. What happens if somebody needs to get into a warming shelter and they miss it? Or out there, the only people who get somebody transported to the warming center, the police department. So if you ever see somebody out there and they're saying, "Oh, I missed the bus. I really wanted to get there. I'm cold," call the police department. We can get them transported up there. I think that's the crux of what I have. Is there anything that I might be able to fill in on?
I have a couple of questions. One, I don't know if you'll even know. But some of that opioid money coming from the state, has anything been coming to the departments to sort of help with some of these diversion programs?
I'm not aware. I don't know, but I do know that we're out there and we're there to help, and please call the Good Samaritan law. And I think that might be worth just mentioning. Let's say I'm in the middle of an overdose and there's drugs everywhere. Please call 911. Nobody's under arrest. All we're doing is giving help. So the fact that people may be under the influence or that there's drugs or paraphernalia around, we're not there to arrest people. We're there to save lives. So call.
Need something else?
I guess in terms of getting ready for the warmer weather, is there anything the village should be doing to sort of continue to dissuade panhandling, people coming, aside from just making sure to keep in touch with you guys, call you guys, all of that stuff, just to sort of get ready for whatever comes next this summer?
Panhandling is not illegal. That's, I think, a concern. Aggressive panhandling, if somebody's, causing somebody to feel menaced or concerned, please call. If anybody feels uncomfortable, concerned for life, limb, eyesight, safety, theirs, or another person, call the police department, will send somebody. I can't dictate policy of the village. We just enforce the laws that you guys generate.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I have a question. So do you feel like it's calmed down a bit? Just from calls or from your department, from the police station?
I don't think there's been much change. I think, unfortunately, there's a need for police and need for partnership with the community, and we're there.
Yeah, I must say that when you guys are patrolling, you can see a difference. It's when you're not patrolling, that's when it becomes, basically, the word is out that the police are not here. And so people are getting more brazen on the streets. I've noticed that. I walk the streets every day. When there's a police officer patrolling on the street by foot, it really has a major effect, tamps everything down. It's when you're not there. And the question I have is, how can we get more patrols? More foot, especially now in winter, it's naturally cold, not a lot of people out, but during the spring and summer, that's when we need more assistance from police patrol. And I also want to mention, people obviously have some people, not me, but some people look at the police not in a positive light. And one thing that I notice is that there is an officer, I won't mention name, that he walks around without the tactical vest on. Right, in the traditional policeman's garb, you know, the hat and that's great, but some of the other officers come in the full tactical vest and they look a lot more intimidating to them. So the question is, do you have any control over that, what they wear, what the uniforms that they wear?
Do I? No.
No.
There's a wear and appearance of the uniform. It's still departmental policy.
Yeah.
What I think you're referring to is the external carrier.
The external cap,
Yes.
yeah, tactical vest. I mean, I call it a tactical vest, but whatever it's called. Yeah, it looks very intimidating. Whereas Officer Kevin, his first name, Kevin,
There's a couple Kevins.
yeah. Tall guy.
The police department.
Coley, when you say tall, there's Kevin Coley, there's Kevin Kitlahan.
Kevin Cully, yes,
Yeah.
he's great.
The best,
The guy,
one of the best.
really is. And he walks around with a lot of confidence, but he's wearing the traditional policeman's garb or police person's garb, right? So that's one thing, but how do we get more, to go back, how do we get more patrolling during the spring and the summer? How can, you know, we do need help, because when there's a lot of panhandles, even though it's a First Amendment right, it's still very apparent, and you know, you can't be everywhere. And a lot of I notice a lot of people, visitors come to the village and they're immediately approached. Sometimes they come to the car, the window, sometimes they go in the street and they ask.
Let me just suggest this, not to cut you off, but let me just suggest this, because Detective Sergeant Palisolo isn't the policy setter for that. He's reporting back on kind of what they're up to.
Okay.
I think your questions is what, I think it's a great question, and we do have, when's our next meeting supposed to be with we have a call once a month.
It's
with
not
the-
scheduled right now.
We gotta get that scheduled.
We'll set it up.
Let's get that scheduled so we
Tomorrow,
can do that, and I will let you know when that meeting is, and you can let me know you can give me questions, and then we'll do that, because I think it's a good question, I'd like to ask, and I'd like to sort of try to get some sense of what's, you know, whether there's things we can do for the spring and the summer, because I think that obviously panhandling goes down in the winter just because it's the weather,
Right.
but it will pick up when we get to the spring unless we do some efforts.
Sure.
But I didn't want he's not the one that sets that policy, he doesn't do that. Thank you for coming in, I appreciate it very much for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank
Nice to
you.
see you.
All right, we did skip a resolution, so to make sure the detective sergeant didn't have to sit through a long
Yes,
discussion about the boat slips.
Do that.
I would have, if I remembered, I would have moved it up a little earlier. All right, so resolution 2426 is to amend the standard schedule fields with fees with regard to the marina boat slip rentals. Can I get this on the table?
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion. So Andy, we're just basically, there's a proposal right now to increase from $50 to $60 per foot for a slip, for residents, keeping it at $75 a foot for non-residents. Did we ever get we never got the numbers on the launching fees, did we? We never pinned that
I
down?
wasn't ready for that topic.
Okay,
tonight.
that's fine. We
The
can talk about that.
launch and the fee and the revenues from that. It's $25 to launch a boat. for the country.
Yeah, so the question is how many we actually collect on.
This is the.
This is the fee for the
rental
slips,
that
yeah, I just was
Anne Marie
curious while we're
manages.
talking about the marina.
Right.
So there's 39 slips. The only thing I would think about, Jen, do we have a wait list for these? Or do these generally sell out? Do we get them sold out every season?
Radio did, but I believe they sell out.
Yeah,
We sell them out or there's a wait
typically
list?
there's no more than one empty one.
Okay.
Wow.
We might want to consider, we should think about the possibility of deliberately leaving 4 of them open for transient voters.
Voters.
Yeah, that would be for boaters who are not, they don't keep a slip here, but the slip is available if they want to come and walk around Nyack, and you know, most places have that because, they have it in, Tarrytown, they have it up in Haverstraw, that you can go, you can dock your boat, you can go get something to eat and stuff like that. It brings in people to the area. We don't have any slips like that. You can't dock anywhere. Should we put some aside?
You asked me a question which I don't have a ready answer for.
Okay,
If you want me to look into that, I will.
all right, we can approve the fees without, or do they start getting sold right now?
Yeah, people are coming in and reserving their spots, so.
All right, anyone else have questions? I took it a different direction.
I don't have a dog in this fight, unfortunately. I really have a boat
Don't worry about it.
to get a boat slip for.
The
But if
fee,
anyone has a boat, I'd love to go on that road.
the fees are, we did the research, the fees are now commensurate with what other.
Right.
Our fees,
So we're
as
still
is
not-
usually the case, are a little bit lower
Right,
than similar kinds of outfits. And that's partly because ours lacks some of the amenities.
Yeah, we don't have gas, we don't have gas or water, or we might have water, we don't have gas.
We have a wonderful gentleman, Bob Squio, who volunteers to kind of be like the marina kind of eyes and ears, and
well, that's really nice.
he's wonderful. And Jim Wilcox has a boat down there. He's on the Parks Commission. And so we have a lot of good kind of eyes on it and feedback and kind of sensitivity to how things are working. And as one of your sort of financial officers here, I don't like to see a situation where against the grain of inflation, fees simply go unincreased for many, many years when we're selling ourselves a little short.
Yeah,
We're providing a wonderful location for boats. It does take maintenance. There's electrical systems on those boat slips. We just had to replace a lock on the gate. It costs like $1,500. So there's just, there's parking
Those things.
regulation, other things that go into it. It is a revenue generating aspect of village operations, which is nice.
They may not be positive revenue generating.
No, it does.
It's a net
we got
positive?
more than we spent. We're
Okay.
bringing in, $48,000. And, we're not gonna burn that by replacing a couple of locks and
Okay.
working on the wiring.
All
I
right,
will say though, that we have a absolutely enormous bill coming, which is why I keep submitting grants on the River Club's bulkheads.
Mm.
Because those bulkheads are falling down and that's like a $500,000 job. So, eventually,
which is why when people ask you why we don't have why there's, when are we gonna replace the restaurant, we have to fix the bulkheads first. We can't put any
unless you
structures on
can
that.
find us a buyer who's willing to buy those bulkheads and invest in the repairs.
Yes, which we're not gonna find somebody to do
Well,
that.
so never say never.
It's tough.
Just, yeah,
I've done the real estate thing for a while. I don't see that selling.
I keep hopeful eyes.
That's good. That's good. All right, any other comment? All right, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries. All right, we've done the police department report. We're done with the resolutions. There's no report from the village attorney. Okay, just making sure. I want to make sure this wasn't the one,
What if you do have a report?
I know, that's why I said.
When necessary.
Okay, and village administrators report,
Hold on, I'm scrolling to my notes here.
just so I can be efficient, is there a village clerk report? I see cross out 7.4. See how we move right through
I was
that?
just gonna say,
Yeah.
they picked the wrong meeting to be sick.
Right, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna actually make it out before 9 o'clock. Maybe, and knock on wood, you never know what could happen, still opportunities. We good? Where's our report?
Well, a couple of things going on.
Okay,
One of the things that I'd like to update you on is the progress of our park project.
okay,
And they're moving really fast. The bulk of the bed of the road that goes from the driveway over towards the splash pad has been excavated, and they've installed fully the stone dust section, which starts at the Veterans Memorial Stairs and kind of loops around towards the back of the splash pad. That part's finished. And now they're building the part that comes out to the driveway. And that's the part that's gonna be paved with asphalt with a border of kind of pavers. It's actually stamped concrete. And it'll look kind of like a slate walkway on the edges. It's the border with the asphalt in the middle for most of the vehicle traffic and pedestrians and so on. So that's in progress. I do need to organize a Parks Commission kind of stakeholder meeting to have a little input on a couple of factors. Basic stuff, like we have to choose a color for the playground surfacing, the rubber surfacing, there's a couple different ones from the stock. Reddish, bluish, greenish, yellowish.
No Barbie pink?
Barbie pink is not an option. I pay a lot extra for that.
So budget.
So I will be coordinating that, getting input on that. A couple of things. Another thing is, we did, a little feasibility on having a electrical hookup for a food truck in the driveway so that they wouldn't have to run a generator. And, it costs about $4,000 to run the wiring. The village would do the actual conduit, and we just have electricians install it. These are,
we gonna do that, or where you're asking?
I wanna do it. I think it's a good idea. I do wanna run it by the Parks Commission.
Yeah.
So we're ready to go on that. We talked with the contractor about helping us. and stuff.
Where would it go to?
So as you come down the driveway, do you know where the barriers that we use for the restaurant bump outs are being stored? It's on the left as you come down the driveway to the
You
park.
come down the driveway, on your right is where the bathroom is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so if you visualize that, those few parking spaces that go out towards the inlet,
Okay,
that's the closest point in the park to our electrical panel, which is right on the corner of the basketball court. It was put there for the lighting for the basketball court, but that's where the equipment will come from. So we just have to run wires across the road to that.
so just up from the bridge.
Yeah, it's
Just up from the
east of the
parking.
bridge towards the end of the inlet.
Yeah.
And so we could get 2 food trucks actually there. So that if people are having a good time in the park and basketball, whatever it is, that food trucks could get. So that's a concept I want to run by the Parks Commission and get any feedback. I don't think it's gonna be controversial, but who knows?
Well, the electric has other value. I mean, electric can be used for a variety of things, not just the.
Well,
food
these
trucks, but-
hookups are,
Specifically,
they're heavier duty. And we also have outlets for like,
other things.
basic
Yeah.
things.
You know what those outlets can be used for on top of that? They can be used for electrical car charging. They're I think they're outlets compatible with
You might be right.
car chargers. They're the kind of outlets that you have when you put in like a dryer. They're for like, they're
Yeah,
not like the
essentially
normal,
that, yeah.
they're not the normal plug-in.
Yeah,
They're
they're 220, 240, whatever.
So like,
So-
you foreseeably could charge a car down there?
If you have a cord,
Okay.
you need your own cord, but it is a emergency, it would be a possible emergency charging for somebody who, if they have their own cord, which a lot of people do, they carry their trunks. Just put it out there that we did,
Yeah,
that maybe we put in a couple, like the hookups.
yeah, our idea was to have 2 because there's room for 2 food trucks there.
Okay.
That could double as something else. Yeah.
You can plug your car into it.
Very cool.
I like that.
And then that generator's not running with all.
Yeah, well, that's the
noisy
thing,
and
the
kind of
noise.
smog.
Smells, yeah.
Yeah, that's worth it, that's worth it. Check it out, get it, look at it with the Parks Commission, and then. But I think we're generally open to it.
I think
Yeah, it's a good
It's a good
investment.
idea.
So it's a lot of chasing after the kind of situations that arise, these things, these discoveries that come up and it costs extra money and we try to figure out what we can afford and.
It's like any construction project, that's exactly what every construction
A lot of that
project
going
is.
on. Another thing which I just want to say is really annoying is that there are people who are jumping over our construction fence or putting it down and coming into the construction site and actually getting into like arguments with our people down there who are building it. It's like, I had to call the police, actually, they were there in minutes,
Oh,
because people were just being really aggressive about entering a construction site.
But why?
It's crazy, I have no idea why. But when we get to the point where we're doing the lawn and we have the whole thing fenced off, we're gonna have to work hard. We're gonna put up a lot of signs.
Well, that's another use of that electrical outlet, we can electrify the
Let me
fence.
sense. So
We're not going to electrify the fence, just so the people watching at home, the 6 people watching on the
We
video.
are, we're worried about the,
Yeah, that's a big concern, like that is a real, it has to be cultural, it has to be like you are a bad person if you go and you jump the fence on that, because that you're gonna ruin it for everybody, you're gonna ruin the lawn.
and if you go on that grass, no fireworks.
And we already
Yeah.
have on our website that whole project's happening
Yeah.
anyway.
Or-
Like day off.
Well,
Yeah.
but, yeah, you know.
The people that will jump on the grass, they're not gonna read the website.
Yeah, well, they're also, they're, I mean, what we're gonna have to deal with is, we're gonna have to deal with. I mean, you're gonna drive by and you see somebody's dog running through the
Yeah.
lawn and you're gonna go crazy. We have to remind people again and again, the upper lawn is open, it's fully open, it's a relatively large expansive lawn. It's not like the big lawn down the bottom, it's not the lower lawn, but it's big enough to do whatever you wanna do, you can do it there. And because we're gonna spend all this money and all this time, and some nudnik is gonna screw it up by jumping on and trampling the seat and stuff like that. All right, what else? Anything else besides the Memorial Park?
It's just too much.
Good update.
Thank
Too
you.
much to do,
There's
or
too much to tell you.
there's too much else that you can't do the
There's
report?
always a lot going on in the village. I mean, I'm happy to answer any questions or go into other topics if you want me to.
Yeah, anything else anybody have questions
I
for?
don't know what you have the
That's
patience for.
A lot of moving parts, that's for sure.
How many streetlights we lose in the last couple of weeks?
We
5?
had like a bad
Yeah,
winter for people hitting our streetlights with cars.
because it's
Yeah,
so
One in
dark.
front of Village Hall got a big gouge. We had to take it down because it was gonna fail. One on the bridge on 9W going over towards Upper Depew. It's terrible.
Put in the minutes, we
One on
need people to
Main
drive a
Street,
little more
One
carefully
down
on the
the
village.
marina parking lot. They're just getting nailed right and left.
Can I ask you a question? What about the situation down at the Marina and Bird and the
yes.
cars?
Oh, we'll give you an update on
Yeah,
that.
we'll give you an update.
There
So
we go.
Joe and I last night actually went and talked to some of these guys.
Oh,
from Loud Monk.
really?
Yes.
Oh, I love
We
that.
went down.
Nice. We asked them to rev their engine just as a demonstration. And we put up a barricade that split the lot so that, and we said, when you come back, go down, Spear Street into the side over there. Don't go up Bird Street where you got a lot of houses and stuff. So we're hoping to get some compliance that way, and and now with the barricades, which we're gonna set up like every night at 10 o'clock. It'll make it harder for cars to just circulate around and around the parking lot, they'll have to be on one side or the other side. So hopefully that'll start to cut down a bit on the noisy behavior or keep it further away.
Yeah, we tried to spread the word. We went down there with the express intention of talking to some of the people in their cars or that were out
Mhm.
and saying to them, basically, you wanna hang out down here, hang out down here. You wanna do whatever, we're not the cops and we're not here to look to bust you for anything. But if you make noise and you're obnoxious and you rev the car and you drive, you do donuts and stuff like that, you're gonna come back and there's gonna be a chain on the entrance, and no one's gonna be able to use it, which is a shame, because a lot of people use it and they like it. And we had that conversation, and it was, we did it with a
How
couple of
was
people.
it?
It was nice. They were all very well received. People are generally, if you call them on the behavior, they are.
And I was also over by the boat launch, there's probably 15 cars
Yeah.
down there.
Mhm.
And it was quiet, people were giggling and just enjoying themselves, they had their lights on and their motors running in some cases, getting out. It was
It was lovely.
it was beautiful, the view of the bridge was
Nice
absolutely
night.
stunning.
Yeah.
It was a nice
And we were
night.
happy to see people enjoying the site without making too much noise. And it's clearly there is a noise problem, and there are some people who abuse that privilege. But it was nice to see a nice calm night on the waterfront with people just enjoying the view.
And the idea was to let people know that, hey, listen, they're gonna ruin it for you. So if you're not causing trouble, talk to the guy who is, because you might know him and you might say to him, listen, you're gonna lock us down.
Yourself, yeah.
Which we will, if we have to, because I think that's the way to solve it.
Yeah, and so many
Cultural-
people used the park years ago before we closed it out and did all the stuff. So people were used to going down, kind of having their thoughts and looking at the moon and stuff like that.
So
So
they did-
hopefully,
Yeah.
Are you gonna continue blocking or how's it gonna, we're gonna do it every so often?
We're gonna try to block it.
It's how
Promise
long
to-
we can hold up. The goal is to put barriers out there at least at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday.
So we'll try.
I may be able to rope a neighbor into doing it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd be willing to help.
And Angelo's gonna do it when they have an event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Angelo of the
Seaport.
Seaport.
Yeah.
Because we don't wanna close it off when he's got
Right,
people
when he's
there,
got people
so
there,
we'll go out at the end and they'll put it on.
Angelo,
Angelo. It was nice, and I got to break out my yellow jacket, my sharp yellow jacket, which really made me stand out down in the, I'm just showing my yellow jacket
Man of
there.
authority.
I
They didn't
can't
make you do wheelies,
You
just
just wanna
as a,
go
like, as a seal of approval.
Do what?
You didn't have to do any wheelies in your.
No, I
car as a
didn't, I
seal of
didn't, no, I
approval?
didn't do that.
Thank you both for doing that. I think that really speaks volumes, like we're talking about this for the longest time, and now you guys just went down there and say, hey, guys.
And I hope it works too. I hope they actually are more respectful.
We'll see, I mean, it's gonna take a while to get the,
Have
to
you
get the word out.
communicated that with Andrea?
I did, I told her I was going
Okay.
down there.
Oh,
I
great.
told her I was going down. That, I had the idea, I said, you know what, we haven't ever tried to talk to these people and just say to them,
Yeah.
you know, we stick the cops on them, which is appropriate, but like, you know, getting there and trying to create a culture where people are not, where they self-police would be very
Yeah.
good. All right, anything else, Andy? I did want, while Andy was talking about, Andy worked very hard on the DRI this year. So Andy, thank you for the hard work you did on it. Thank, you know, I did, I'm sorry it didn't come through.
The
And,
ceremony wasn't that great, I promise. It was really boring.
so-
And it sucked. It was
This night
terrible.
wasn't there, so how much fun is that?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was awful.
but thank you, and, thanks also to the people on the committee who worked on it as well. So, let's get that in the minutes that we're appreciative of all the people. And can we enter into the minutes, the names of the people that were on the committee, just to add them in? To
Sure.
make sure
I like
that
that.
we thank them. The sense of the board is that they're very appreciative of the
Yeah.
work they did. And we're gonna get it next year.
Really get it.
It's a big priority now to get it next year. Village clerk didn't have a report. Any old business that we have to revisit?
I didn't put any down.
Okay, you didn't pay, I wasn't sure if there was anything. New business, everybody look at your calendars. If you haven't already done it, July 11th, can we do, right now, it's, I mean, it's well in advance, so,
I'm away the entire month of July and August.
so it's
You're out
it's
of
2 months. Oh, okay, all right.
I wish I was away those 2 months. That's fine.
July 11th?
It's July, moving the July 18th meeting to July 11th. Can we do that? At least know that we have 4 people who have it on their calendar. Now, anything can happen between now and July 11th, but at least it's, you know, like every other.
July
we want every day
11th
on
to
the
the
schedule.
18th.
No, 18th to the 11th.
11th.
18th to the
I'm
11th.
okay with that.
As of now, yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't
Okay.
foresee
I mean-
anything crazy coming up.
I mean, if something comes up, we can move it, we can move it again if we have to, but it made more sense to try to keep it on a Thursday night. Because that's, you know, it's typical for us. And it's actually, technically, it's the second Thursday of the month, so it's not, it's where we usually have our meetings, so it's not that big of a deal. Nothing else on new business, communications. That we don't know, that we haven't talked about yet. Nope.
Nope.
All right, this is the, do we have it, are we doing an executive session? It's on the calendar, so we're not gonna have an executive session, so. Last chance for public comment. Anybody have a public comment they'd like to share? On any topic? Anybody from the board have anything that they want to bring up after we? From the, you know, we did at the beginning of the meeting, but anything come up since then that you want to address? No?
Thank you for asking them.
Just wanted to make sure. Anything else? I'm not, it feels too early to.
Just adjourn, just adjourn.
Just to complicate all of our lives.
Here we go.
I wanna note
There it
that
is.
it is actually illegal to beg for money in the streets of Villaage. In 2 places in our code.
I didn't want to get into it.
Yeah, because that's one place.
Oh.
We have a code that says that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, you need to pull, if you wanna ask for alms, you need to get a license from this.
You have to have a hawking license.
I sent the details, very well researched memo
It's
to
also listed under disorderly.
Andy and Joe,
Oh.
and maybe Joe.
Oh, I don't understand.
Yeah, we
that.
should- yeah.
I'll forward it to those who did not receive
So
it.
that's
By BCC.
A blind copy, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
Oh, that's-
Yeah, no, there's some truth to what Detective Sarge
Right,
tells.
because I've heard that before.
No, he's right. Oh, no, our law is unconstitutional. That's what we should be saying.
Well, I'm not.
Our law is unconstitutional. You cannot,
As village attorney, I would ask that.
I also,
I'm
yeah.
not quite ready to say wholesale. There may be bits and pieces of it that could be tweaked a bit, but I'm not ready to say that's unconstitutional.
what, not to get too deep into it, but simple panhandling is generally considered to be protected speech. However, if we're gonna look at, we should probably clean up the code in a variety of ways. We've talked about doing that and really going through and hiring somebody to go through and modernize the code so it doesn't have sexist language, so it doesn't have stuff in it that doesn't really apply anymore and things like that. We might wanna look on a substantive level at panhandling, because there are limitations you can put on panhandling to protect certain areas and certain activities. You can say there's no panhandling in parking lots, there's no panhandling in on property where there is a bank or an ATM. You can do things like that where there are time, place, and manner restrictions, to use a term of art that
Right, no,
I've heard you talk about.
so far, we're.
We're in a lot, okay,
We're in
good.
sync.
So we could,
I like that.
and something we should think about, and maybe we'll talk, I'll work with Dennis on maybe start thinking about for some legislation that we could have in place by May, when it starts to get a little
Right.
hotter and starts to become an issue, that we at least give the police some tools to be able to, I think abroad, you can't panhandle in town without a hawker's license is probably not something that the police would enforce, but they could enforce the kinds of things I'm talking about. You can't do it here, you can't do it there. They can spot check that. They can see, okay, he's in a place where he's not supposed to be, or she's in a place he's not supposed to be. And it's a lot easier to enforce, because it's limited. So I think we should think about that.
I like that, 'cause some of it's happening, people following people to their cars in a parking lot,
Yeah.
that's scary in itself, so I
And I
like.
asked,
So
I
that could be a
guess,
location
if
that,
it's a-
that,
They can't do
that could
that.
be a location that panhandling is not
Mhm.
allowed.
Right, well, that's where I'm like,
Mhm.
is there a way, I mean, obviously proper signage for like parking lots and things like that, but even for like, I don't know if it's worth pairing up with the chamber or something for businesses to have like posters and things like
Well,
that.
that's
You
the
know,
whole
that's-
separate thing. We're gonna do, yeah, that's, I'm gonna have a report
That
for you on
way.
the 29th about that.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I'll have some more information about that. That we have made movement on that. All right, anything else? Oh, yes, please, public comment.
So over the years, 30, 40, whatever, there has been, and it's enforced every once in a while, the hawking and soliciting law, which generally is never enforced. Yeah, that's the thing. So, of course, panhandling, that's totally different. But, I just thought I'd.
Do we
bring
see
that up
unlicensed- are
Because
there-
that has always been I hate to use that expression, bugaboo, but it has always come up every once in a while, how, stores are being harassed by
Right,
By peddlers or by
peddlers,
yeah, by peddlers,
by,
yeah,
you name it,
selling
You
stuff
name-
to the
yeah.
businesses?
well, it's selling, but also in their.
soliciting.
Soliciting
Yeah.
and dealing and.
Yeah,
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, well, that's different from
Right,
hawking. Hawking
right.
is different. All right, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's, in the past, it has been and it usually when the weather warms up, that's when
2022.
Yeah,
everything comes up.
yeah, that's a definite law that we can enforce. That's a code issue that we can enforce on that, because you're not supposed to be soliciting business if you don't have a license or you're not operating from a facility. All right, anything else? Going once, going twice. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed? Motion carries.
thank
Good meeting,
you,
everybody. Thank you all for being
I
here.
almost all said also I.
We had, yeah, right, oh, well, you have to go off for another hour. We forgot to mention